Hey everybody, today we're doing a little in-kitchen experiment. We're going to try 3 different ways to fry a pork chop. Come on, let's get cooking. So the first method is what I like to call the traditional method. It's the way that my grandmother taught my mother and then taught me. You usually use some kind of liquid medium, buttermilk, egg, or plain water. My grandmother just used water, and that's used to dip your meat into, or your vegetable, or whatever it is you're trying to fry, and then you go into flour that's been seasoned. That's the old way of doing it, and I'm gonna show you that method. Now I like buttermilk. The second method I recently learned about watching a Michelin star chef fry chicken thighs, and I gave it a shot. It seemed a little wanting, but I want to give it another chance. What she did is she actually seasoned the buttermilk, placed the chicken thighs into it, and then let it marinate overnight. We're going to do that as well. Now, because like I said, it was a little lacking to my taste, I'm going to try a third hybrid method. What is a hybrid method? We're going to season the buttermilk, and then put it into seasoned flour. The second method, she didn't season the flour. It's just plain flour, seasoned buttermilk, plain flour. My hybrid method that we're going to give a shot today, seasoned buttermilk and then seasoned floured and then fry. So let's go ahead and get started on that. We're going to start by seasoning our buttermilk. Now, one pork chop I've already just put in buttermilk in a Ziploc bag. I'll show you that here in just a little bit. Nothing special with that, just buttermilk. But I am a professional chemist in real life, so we want repeatable results. So I'm actually going to measure all this up so we get a one-to-one comparison, so we can have an honest comparison. That is 1 cup of buttermilk. That is another cup of buttermilk right there. Now, ordinarily, I don't measure this sort of stuff out, but for the sake of science, we're going to do very specific measurements. We're going to put 1 tablespoon, try to make it level, of kosher salt into each one of these. I like a bit of garlic, so 1 tablespoon garlic powder. We got a teaspoon here of onion powder. Now, you don't have to do this same mix. Do whatever makes you happy. However you fry your stuff, fry it the way that makes you happy. Normally, I just throw and go. I never measure this sort of stuff. It's just whatever kind of feels good. Now, we're also going to go with a teaspoon of paprika. We want to feel the heat, baby. Oh, yeah. It's 1. Oh, not quite. There we go. And we'll finish off with some ground black pepper. So these are now 1-to-1. You could add more herbs and seasoning if you want, but this is just kind of what I feel like doing myself. So this is what we're doing. Now we're going to whisk. And all this good mixed up. You know, if you wanted to, if you really wanted some heat, throw in some hot sauce. Or if you wanted some sweetness, Throw in sugar if you want. Or cinnamon. Yeah, be real crazy. No, don't be that crazy. No cinnamon. Trust me. You don't want to try that. Sadly, I speak from experience. Now we have our pork chops in a big old Ziploc bag. And little pro tip, if you have a problem with your pork chops puffing up in the middle, do a little slice across the edge. There's this sinew that runs around the side of the pork chop, and when it heats, it shrinks up and it causes that middle to puff up. And so one side won't get as well done as the other side. The other option is you put a big weight on there, and that pretty much solves that problem. But we're going to take this and add it to our Ziploc bags. Now, it may be a little OCD, but I like to get out as much of the air as I can. It doesn't serve a purpose to get out all the air, except, well, my OCD. Go ahead and give it a good roll around like that. Make sure it gets all over. And I like to fold it over. And then we put it in the refrigerator just like that. We're going to do it to our second pork chop. We're going to do the exact same thing. Just pour it in to the Ziploc bag. Alright, good and rolled around. Fold it in half. And here is our third pork chop in just plain buttermilk. 3 pork chops, 2 seasoned in buttermilk, 1, well, seasoned buttermilk, and then the third just straight buttermilk, no seasoning. This is going to be our experimental control. This will be our traditional fry. And now we're going to put it in the refrigerator overnight, let them marinate, and then tomorrow we're going to fry these bad boys up. Our 3 experimental pork chops have been marinating now for 24 hours. So now let's start with the flour. Our first experimental pork chop up is going to be our Michelin star pork chop. Now we're doing this first because there's no seasoning in the flour, and we can reuse this flour. We'll add seasoning for our other methods, but this is all there is to it. If you've never fried anything and thought, oh my God, I can't do that, you get something to make it stick and you put it in the flour, and then you take this beautiful thing over to the fryer. Now, how do you tell if your oil is hot enough? I got peanut oil here. Just put a little in there. Look at that. See how it's all frying up? That's when you know it's right. When you got a gas stove, like I do, there's no dial it in. You need a thermometer, or you need a neat little trick like that. And we're just going to drop that in there gently, not splash yourselves, and fry that bad boy up. While that's cooking, we're going to start seasoning up our flour. For the sake of consistency, we're going to use the same things we used for seasoning in our buttermilk and our flour. So now we're not going to do specific measurements because we're going to use this for both of our experimental pork chops. So we're going to go ahead, salt it up pretty good. I like kosher salt. Our onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, and for a little heat, paprika. Maybe for a lot of heat. Mix it up. If I had my whisk handy, I'd use it, but hey, fork will work just as well. Just want to do your best to try to get it evenly mixed up. And it's ready for our next batch of pork chops. Oh, this is starting to look good here. Smelling good too. Oh yeah, beautiful color on it. Turned it at just the right time. And we're gonna let this cook a little bit. And then we'll put it over on a paper towel and a rack to drain off the oil as best we can. Let's see how the other side's looking now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Drain off some of that. And let's get another pork chop. Now we're going to go with our traditional fried pork chop, where all we've had it in is just straight buttermilk going into seasoned flour. Now, if you wanted to check the seasoning on this flour, it needed to be done before I put any raw meat in here. You could have just licked your finger, dip it in there, and you taste it. But unfortunately, I've already put meat in it, so that wouldn't be healthy. And I don't want y'all getting sick. And there's our traditionally fried pork chop. Hey everybody, quick note from your hard-working editor. It seems the filmographer kind of messed up. He's also the cook. He thought after this segment that he had turned the camera off, but he didn't. He left it running. So when he came back to flip the pork chops over where you could see it, he actually turned the camera off like an idiot. So you didn't really miss much. All you missed was the pork chops cooking to a beautiful golden brown and pork chops getting flipped. To this point, you've seen everything required for frying pork chops. And now we skip to the end, which is the best part. I get to try them and you get to watch. So now back to the video. And now is the time for the best part of the video. We get to try it. So this is our traditional, where all we did was marinate in just plain buttermilk and then rolled it around in seasoned flour. Now, I've been eating it like this my entire life. My grandmother cooked it this way. My mother cooked it this way. And it just, oh, it looks beautiful. They all smell amazing. Now, it tastes amazing. What I'm tasting for, though, is the flavor profile. Do I taste that paprika, the garlic, the pepper, the onion powder? Do I taste that? How strong is that coming through? It's a little mild here. So now we're going to go with the Michelin star pork chop. Now this, we seasoned the buttermilk first and then put it in plain unseasoned flour. So let's see how this is going to taste. See if it comes out any stronger. Now, I'm using a fork and knife for the video. When I turn that camera off, I'm just picking these bad boys up, just like a country boy should. All right. Color me surprised. Actually taste the seasoning stronger in this than in the traditional. Just a hint of salt, a little bit of the paprika, and it's subtle, and that's what you want. Unless you want it burning hot, then you should use a whole lot more paprika. Let's see how my hybrid does. Is this a winner, a game changer, or did I overcook it and just waste a bunch of pork chops on this experiment? We're about to find out. I gotta tell you, I think it's a hybrid for the win. Yeah, you do taste a little bit over here with the seasoning, but between the marinade and the seasoned flour, this beats all three for flavor. I am honestly surprised. So, on that bombshell, I want you to go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of these three methods. Maybe you got something completely different from what I've done here. I'd love to hear about it. And I will see you next week.